because a man raped them. All right, so another effect of child abuse is fear of being vulnerable. You know, vulnerability is one thing that I've learned to be very important in our relationship with men, especially those that are close to us. You know, when you are in a relationship with someone, and I'm not just talking about a love kind of relationship, but even a mother to daughter relationship, father to son relationship, sister to sister relationship, friendship, I mean, one of the things that makes it really easy for the relationship to be smooth and interesting is that vulnerability. When you are vulnerable to one another, you're not ashamed to show your weaknesses, you're not ashamed to share your strength. But you see, a lot of people that go through abuse as a child grow up to become very defensive. They become very defensive, and that is why we cannot really blame people for the behaviors we see them possess or express, because you don't know what they have been through as a child. You don't know what they have gone through as a child, and so they become very defensive. They don't loosen up. There's that guard that they have just built around them. There's that wall of defense, so before you even drop it, they have attacked and defended. Okay, so sometimes people like this need to really go for counseling, just to help them loosen up and understand the fact that one bad apple does not make the other apples bad. Okay, so also the effect of child abuse, this happens even at the very tender age. The ones I previously mentioned are things that you can even see when the child becomes an adult, but this one even happens when the child is still a child, and that is trouble at school. Ability, there is no ability for concentration. When you see children in school losing concentration on school works and school activities, probably such child or such children have been through abuse, and they need to be properly handled. They need to be properly attended to. You see, not every children that does poorly in school activities are meant to be dull. There's some bright students, really bright students, and all of a sudden they just go so dull, they grow so quiet, they grow so gloomy and all. Sometimes it's as a result of what is happening to them, even at the moment. It doesn't have to be a thing of the past. Okay, so you see children come to school, they are so sad, they don't talk, the teacher is talking, their minds are far away because of what they know they're gonna get home to meet. Okay, so I'm going to let our listeners, as you're listening, to actually call in so that you can give your own opinion on child abuse, what the effects are, and what you think the solutions could be. All right, so you can call on 081 4977 0712. Again, you can call on 081 4977 0712. Thank you. All right, so I was saying that many children. Oh, I guess we have a caller already. We have a caller already. Oh, it just ended. Hello. Okay. Oh. All right, the call just ended. I believe the person will call back. I was saying that. So when you see a child, or you see a child that starts to lose concentration at school, the child does not listen to what the teacher is saying, the child does not even know what the teacher is saying, the child begins to perform so poorly in academics. Sometimes it is not because the child is unserious, it is not because the child is dull, but because the child is going through some things that are not okay. We have a call already. Hello. Hello.
Good day.
Good day. Yes, please go on. You are live.
Okay. I'm live. My name is Uncle Sam, calling you from Lagos.
Oh, Sam calling from Lagos. Thank you so much. Welcome to the show. Please go ahead.
Okay. Well, really, you've been talking about abuse, child abuse, and the like.
Okay.
That is, the family is the first institution of the society.
Yeah.
If the family doesn't have a good foundation, let me just use my religious understanding of what the Bible says. If the
Okay.
foundation is destroyed,
What can the righteous do? Yeah.
The are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening. Go ahead, please.
So the family is the first institution. If the problem we have is most parents don't want to train their children the way they were trained. So with that understanding, they get to either they abuse the child. You need societally in the sense that the child gets to not understand what discipline is.
Yeah.
So because they don't, when the Bible says spare the rod, sorry, I keep quoting the Bible, and spoil the child.
Yes.
The rod most times isn't physical. Sometimes some kids hate to be talked to. That's their rod. So if you check fraud in the society, those Yahoo boys, it is basically out of low self-esteem. Presently, they want to show off. So little money that they are able to fraudulently get, they want to show off. That's low self-esteem. So we need to go back to the foundation of the institution of a family. Now, we have to go back to that foundation. And what gives back to that foundation is marriage. The Bible says, sorry, I keep quoting the Bible.
It's fine. That's right. Yeah.
The Bible gave a triangle of love. It said, Father, he said, man, love your wife just as Christ loved the church.
And gave his life.
Woman, submit to your husband. That means if there is no love, there is no submission. Children,
thank you.
Obey your parents. Father, don't cause your child to anger. If we don't respond to that institution, we will still continue and maintain this abuse. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. That was a wonderful contribution from you, Sam. Okay, one last thing before you go. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
You talked about discipline. How do you think a child should be disciplined? You said some children do not like to be talked to. Yes. Should discipline be as a result of what the child wants or what you feel is right? So how best do you think a child should be disciplined as well as not to cause abuse?
You don't. No, see, children are very, very sensitive, even from the womb. I was speaking in a gathering of women, and one mother said she remembered when he had the pregnancy of his son, and every time this boy will be kicking, and whenever she kicks, she feels the pain. So one day she hit her stomach with her hand and said, "Smash him up, smash him up." That was the end of it.
Wow.
In the womb.
Impressive.
That was the end. So the children understand this thing. So children they are very psychological. They play that game so well. This is what they do, especially when they're with their parents. They know if they do something and daddy tries to scold them, they look at mom. Mom will say, "Don't mind daddy." From that day, you have destroyed the principle of discipline. It takes two to count. Don't talk down on the child. Don't talk down on the child. If a child offends and does something, you can sit the child down. Most times, this is what you do in your house: create rules. Rules, and when you follow those rules, these are your rewards. When you don't, these are the punishments. That's the best way to discipline a child.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much, Sam. That was an interesting contribution from you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Bye. All right, we have a text message from Ajibade Temiloluwa, and we have a text message from Ajibade Temiloluwa. It says, Christiana D, you are doing well. Lovely show. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. All right, so don't forget, you can keep bringing calls in if you want to make wonderful contribution like Sam just did, and you want us all to hear you on 08149440712, 08149770712. All right, where were we? I was talking about the effect of child abuse, and let me just do a quick recap before we go into what we think the solution is and the preventive measures are. Okay, I think we have another caller. Hello. Hello. Yes, you are live. Please, what's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Fisayo. I'm calling you all the way from Ibadan.
Oh, Fisayo from Ibadan. Thank you. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Well, the topic is actually a sensitive one. And actually, timely.
Mm.
But like the former caller said,
Mm.
in your house you need to make rules.
Yeah.
It is lovely for your children to watch TV if you feel okay by it.
Mm.
But whenever it gets to a certain time, they have to go into their room, carry their books,
Okay.
or to go and sleep.
Yeah.
Parents are fond of allowing their children to watch to whatever time they like.
Mm.
And that's why you see, even on social media, some people today were crying when some outfits of Big Brother Nigeria.
Yeah. And that was so absurd. Yeah. As a child, feeding a child with such. Yes, please go ahead. Mm.
Yeah, and another thing is this: if you actually want to beat your child,
Okay.
I'm not actually against beating. Why some parents are against
it.
But if you have to beat your child, you have to tell the child this is what to do, and I'm going to beat you. And in fact, if you beat the child and you want to kill the child, you're actually correcting for what he or she has done was, you understand? So, and another thing, but most of all, I feel for child rearing, you have to trust God for child rearing. No matter how you want to train a child. At some point, the Bible says that at the later part of Proverbs, it says the way the child will go. At some point, the child will actually go to make some certain decisions.
Okay.
So at that point, you know that it is God that actually help a parent
to train a child.
You understand?
Yeah.
No matter the time you have done, no matter the time you have done. So we should all trust God to help us with our children. And I pray that they always make the better choice in life.
Amen. Amen.
What a wonderful show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. A show from Ibadan. Thank you so much. All right, bye. Have a great day. All right, so back to what we're talking about. Okay, I just like to ask this question, and as you call in, you can also answer. How do you think a child should be beaten? Although I believe in different strokes for different folks, of course, we have some parents who do not want to beat a child. We have some parents who would want to just talk to the child. And there are some parents that don't know how to talk, probably because the way they were trained, they were not trained to talk. And so they just beat. So how do you think a child should be beaten? Really? Because I remember the story of, I'm not going to mention names, but I was in that house at a time when, let me give a name as B. B was beaten by her mother, and what she did was very, very wrong. I think she stole or something. And I remember her mother sending me to get a blade and a dry pepper, that we call atagungun. And of course, she had the cane in the house. And so I brought the blade. I was really confused at a point because this was her talking to the child, scolding her, I'm going to beat you for what you did and all. And so she sent me to get a blade. I was wondering, what does she want to use a blade to do? Before I got back, the child was already tied. B was tied already. Her hands and her legs were tied. The cane was wet. It was brought out of water. And then she collected the new blade from me. And she started tearing some parts of the body of the child. She started tearing her skin. And then when she was done with that, she started rubbing the pepper like she was rubbing cream on her body. And after she finished, she brought out the cane from the water, the wet cane, and it is now that tiny one. I don't know, I feel there is a way tiny cane pains more than the fat ones. I remember then when I was in secondary school and there was that general beating, our class teacher wanted to beat all of us. We always watchful of the cane. If it was a fat cane, there is usually no fear. This one cannot be painful. But once the cane is thin and long, no. We know the kind of pain it brings, So it was that kind of pain. And then she started beating the child with the cane, with pepper and blade cuts and all of that. And really, I know it could go a long way in helping the child because she could want to do that again and remember the pain she had to go through for doing that. And because of that, she decides not to. But really, I believe in doing something and not doing something because of the understanding you have behind that thing, not because you are being compelled or propelled to. So when a child begins to do something, not because he or she understands that this is right and this is wrong, but she's doing that thing or he is doing that thing because this is what will happen if I do it. This is what will happen if I don't. I think at the end of the day, it doesn't bring out the best in that child, because it's more like the child is pretending. That means when the child leaves the house, she knows that nobody will cut me again, nobody will rub pepper on me, so I can do what I just did. But once I'm with my mom, I know this is what she'll do, so I won't do that. So I don't know what your own opinion is about how to beat a child, so you can call in to say what your opinion is, and if it's to also address what we've been talking about, since you can also call in to do that. All right, let me call the number again for those who are probably just joining. 08149770712. Again, 08149770712. All right, so let us go to what the solution to child abuse, I mean, not how to prevent it now, but the solution to the effects that we've earlier mentioned. You know, we talked about low self-esteem, we talked about anger and resentment towards the abuser, and even anything or any object that reminds the person of the abuse. And we have fear of being vulnerable. Okay, we have another caller in the house. We have another caller. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. Please, what's your name and where are you calling from, please?
Festus from Ibadan.
Sorry, Festus.
From Ibadan.
Oh, thank you. So nice to have you on the show. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Okay. Beating people, beating children, trying to make them understand that what they are doing is wrong.
Okay.
Trying to flog or inflict pain as it were. Well, the first thing is, with my little understanding of punishment doesn't deter.
Punishment doesn't what?
Doesn't deter.
Okay.
When you beat to a level, now the question I ask myself most times is this. Now, when you have the strength to beat a child now, and you keep beating to correct, now when it comes to the time you don't have the strength to beat that child, how do you correct the child? Now, this does not mean that parents cannot punish as it were.
Okay.
But there is a mode to it. Now, the aspect of cutting with blades, shooting pepper, that's purely child abuse. I will never support that. Now, you can make a child feel well, you can make a child go on school down, you can make a child do some other things. Punishment, give him punishment, and then let him feel reason why what he's doing is wrong.
Okay.
And you know, I was going through a book one time, and I saw this striking point that when your child goes to a level, do less of talking and more of your news. Pray more for the child. Do less of talking and more of your news. So when you pray more for the child, I tell you, the little punishment you want to put in place, he or she will understand better. So that would be my point for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was so insightful. You know, do more on your nails. Thank you so much, Festus. Colin, thank you. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Welcome.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, welcome.
All right. So back to what we're talking about. You know, what he said just made me remember something my mother once told me. You know, as a young lady, I started living alone at a very tender age, and it's not like there were not so many things that came, you know, my way. And at some point I was confused, at some point I was scared, you know, a lot of emotions raging at the same time. But I realized that no matter how tempting something is for me, I just find my way back. I mean, I don't even find myself leaving my path, not to talk of finding my way back. And it brought me to question, Lord, how have I been this strong? How have I been this, you know, very determined? And my mother told me something. Okay, I think we have another caller right now. I'm going to go back to what I was about to say before the person called. Oh, I guess the call just dropped. The person will call again. All right, so my mother told me something that when she was pregnant of me, she read the whole of the New Testament over and over and over again. And so she knows that many of the things that she sees me do today, you know, many of the ways she sees me make her proud, she knows it's really not by my power, really, but the prayers, the number of prayers she had sent into my life even before I was born. So I really support Festus that you have to spend more time on your knee to train a child, and not just, you know, not just beating the child or talking. Okay, we have a message from I don't think I know who this person is, but the message says, Okay, this is a message from T. I don't know T. Okay, T says beating a child with blade and pepper and likes is wickedness. I I have a child steals. Okay, if a child steals is wicked, I will create a court sentence him to jail of 5 days with hard labor. I don't know if this person is a lawyer. I guess so. Probably the person has a lawyer or something. All right. So prayer is really important in training up a child. You know, I love one thing. Apostle Selman would always say that life is spiritual, and anything that must happen in the physical first takes place in the spiritual realm. So if you want to have a godly child, you want to bring up a peaceful child that will give you no stress, you want a child, of course there will be those stages of adolescence, you know, puberty, you know, those stages come with their own kind of emotions and personality and attributes. Okay, but despite that, you can still maintain the good that you have even when these emotions start to emerge. Okay, so if you want a child that would not be troublesome, if you want a child that would listen when you tell the child to listen, if you want a child that will be God-fearing, that will be respectful, I think all of these needs to start from the spiritual. You know, you have to go to that place where you already profess those things into the child's life even before the child is born. So you'll be surprised by the little stress you would have to go through in training up that child, because there is a spiritual backing already. And even in the spirit realm, the child is already becoming that person. And so it's just materializing in the physical. So if there is one thing I like us to take out of the show of the day of today, is that training a child also entails us to go on our kneel to pray. Send prayers into the lives of your children even before they are born. All right, so for those who are probably just joining, don't forget you can call on 08149770712. Again, 08149770712. All right, so let's go to the solutions to the effects of an abused child. All of the effects that I earlier mentioned. How do we help a child that has been abused? One of the things I like to say is that the process of taking away the effects, it's quite almost unimaginable, or almost, you know, it's almost like it's not gonna happen, it can't happen, or it's really difficult, really, because this effect goes deeper than anyone can ever imagine. But one of the things I like to say first is, if a child that had been abused, or you are probably an adult and you were abused as a child, and you know you are going through the effects earlier mentioned, and even much more that has not been mentioned, you know, one of the things I like you to do is talk to someone. Make sure you talk to someone about it. Talk to somebody that you trust, talk to somebody that you respect, somebody that can help you through the process. Probably the person could counsel you or even refer you to a counselor. So just don't keep quiet. You need to talk about it. You know the saying that when a problem is shared, is half solved. That is so true. Trust me. A lot of times we go through things, and by the time we're able to tell it to a significant other or somebody that is there as a friend, you realize how lightened you become. So make sure you talk to someone about it. Don't die in silence. Talk to someone. Another thing is, I like you to know thyself. Know thyself. Who are you? Who are you? You see, one of the things that would help us to go through the sheets that life has thrown to us, you know, one of the things that would help us to come out strong, our heads high above the waters, is when we truly know who we are, when we have found our identity. So I like you to ask yourself, who are you? What is your identity? For me, my identity is in Christ. You know, that is one person, one being that I know that defines me. My totality is defined by him. So what I've gone through does not define me. The abuse does not define me. What people say does not define me. They've called you bastard or mwale. You are not the father of your child. It doesn't define who you are and what you are and what you can do and what you were made to do. So it doesn't matter what you've been through, it doesn't matter what you are going through. There is someone who sees you from a totally different standpoint than every other person, and that is Jesus, that is Christ. So you need to find yourself, you need to find your identity in him, so it helps you to go through the healing process. And then you need to forgive. But really, how can you forgive if you do not even have that person that forgave even while we were yet sinners? And so that's why I said you need to find yourself first. Now, if you have found yourself and you know truly that your identity has been tied to Jesus, to Christ, and your identity has been found in Christ, then you need to go through the process of forgiving. Trust me, I hear a lot of people say, there are some things some people will do that is beyond forgiveness. Even if I forgive, it is not from the bottom of my heart. It will just be because so that people will not talk. There are some things I cannot. A lot of people say that, and I really would not blame them. Trust me, because if we have to look at it, there are so many things that men will do to you and make you not want to forgive. Even the Bible says it, that the heart of man is deceitful and desperately wicked, and only God knows that heart. But you need to learn to forgive. I believe that, in fact, your healing process starts from the point that you forgive the people that have abused you, or the one that has abused you. Okay, you need to learn to forgive. It's not an easy process, but it can be achieved. I remember my own story when I listened to Joshua Selman, Love Never Fails. You can try listen to it if you feel that you really, really do not think you can forgive. You can try listen to that message, Love Never Fails by Selman. That was the message I listened to, and I was just alone behind my doors, like in my room alone, and I listened to the message. I was so I was so enthroned in my own tears, and that was the process for me. Really, that was the beginning of my own healing. I know somebody will be wondering what happened to her that she's talking about healing. Trust me, all of us have a story to tell. We have people that have hurt us, we have people that have done things to us, and so at one point or the other, whether you have been offended or not, just know that you'll be offended. And so even before that offense comes, probably you start to dispense that forgiveness. So it's nothing so deep. We've all gone through something. All right, so forgive the person. Talk to someone about it. All these things are what will help us, or help you rather, to go through the stage of to go through the effects as a triumphant person, to come out strong despite everything. Now, how do we really prevent this child abuse? How do we prevent it? You see, one thing I like to say is child abuse has come to, emerge so rapidly, like it's so rampant, because of ignorance. Ignorance is a disease, and until there is knowledge, there is no deliverance. Okay, the truth of the matter is, a lot of parents do not even know that some of the things they do or say is an abuse. I'm sure no reasonable parent would want to, would hear you say, do you know if you do this, you're abusing the child, this and this and this could be the effect, and would still go ahead to that, except for parents who probably have not gone through some series of healing themselves. A lot of parents are suffering from anger issues, and so it tells on the children. So if a parent has not gone through some processes of taking that away, you might say that and it might not make sense. But I'm talking about an average parent, somebody that is reasonable, would not know that this is me abusing my child and still do it. So ignorance is a disease. We need to create more awareness of what child abuse is all about. I am not talking about rape here, because even if you sleep with a child that said yes, it is still a child abuse, as long as the child is a child. So this has nothing to do with rape. I know that we push rape out there because it happens a lot, especially during the pandemic. It was so rampant. I get it. But as much as we are pushing rape and we are creating awareness for that, and we are letting people know that there is a punishment according to the law for people that rape, as much as we are making awareness to that, we also need to create awareness for child abuse, the physical child abuse, the sexual child abuse, the emotional child abuse, the economical child abuse. We need to create awareness for these things. So in schools, there should be programs that would help people to know what child abuse is all about, how to prevent it, how not to make it happen, how to deal with people that have been abused, and all of those things. So we need to create awareness. Even it should also be everywhere on the social media, television, every platform should project what child abuse is. Okay, another solution or another way to prevent it, I believe, is disciplining your child thoughtfully. There are some certain things that should not even be thought about. There are some certain things that shouldn't be a deliberation, that shouldn't even be an argument. For example, I don't know if I already said that. I heard the story. Oh yeah, I already mentioned it. Somebody pouring hot water on a child just because she was I don't even know what she was doing. Whatever it is, no child deserves to be treated like a slave. Even slaves should not be treated that way. Okay, so discipline your child thoughtfully. You could go read books on parenting, how to parent a child. You could go for counseling and classes on how to parent a child. It's okay not to know how, but by the time you don't allow your pride not to make you know that you do not know, then you are causing more damage to the child, not to yourself. The person who suffers it is your child or your children. So you need to know how to parent a child, how to parent a child properly. So you go for parent classes, parenting, reading books on parenting, how to parent a child, and all of those things. And also report any form of child abuse. That's another way to prevent it. You see, the moment it starts sinking into the subconsciousness of people that there are laws against child abuse, which of course there are. The moment people know that whoever does this has a punishment, and they are seeing that punishment not something that just goes under the carpet and we hear nothing about. We've heard several cases of men who rape ladies, and because they have big names or because they hold some kind of title in spiritual gathering or maybe economical session, political session, we do not hear anything about it. Okay, but then I'm talking about the time people start to see these people come to the point of receiving justice from the government and even from any other law that binds child abuse. For example, a church, a spiritual atmosphere, a spiritual institution could have measures for precautions for child abuse. So the moment people know that anybody that abuses a child in any of these ways that has been mentioned has a penalty, so it's going to really help parents to caution themselves. You see, that's anger management issues that they have. By force, they will start to exhibit that management. By the time they see that, my friend, because of this that she did to her child, this and this was what happened to her. So we need to start reporting abuse. Do not hide it. Do not keep it. You know that your neighbor that beats a child like she's beating a thief. You know that your friend that beats her child or punishes her child like she's punishing God knows what. Report it. You may not have to get to the government. You may not have to go political or governmental, but you have to report it. If you notice that probably a child is living with somebody that is not a parent or his parent, and those people or that person in charge of the child is maltreating the child, that's the emotional abuse. You could as well report it. Do not keep quiet about it, because these effects most times are long-term effects, and they don't show now. They show when that child becomes an adult and it begins to affect the child in every areas. So please report it. You might be saving a life, you might be saving and helping a destiny. And lastly, before we wrap it up on the show, I know it could be really difficult for parents to have their children with them because of the kind of job they do, because of the kind of path that life has thrown towards them, and they just have to tread on. A lot of people do not plan what happens to them. A lot of people that are separated from their families do not plan that they will be. But life just happens and we just have to keep going. Okay, I know it could happen that way, but we could try as much as possible, especially this new generation that is emerging. We can break the chain and ensure that no matter what happens, let's try as much as possible to maintain proximity and intimacy with our children. And what do I mean by that? I mean that You don't have to let your children live with other people. You don't have to leave your children under the care of another person or a relative. Aside from, yeah, maybe school, boarding school, that's fine. You know, there is usually structures when it comes to that. Of course, some things happen, but then it can't be as bad as that of relatives and, you know, other guidance. So I just like to say that we should try as much as possible to make sure that we maintain proximity and intimacy with our children, such that even if for one reason or the other they would not be under our roof, they have that confidence and boldness to still talk to us as their parents when things are happening to them. A lot of children do not open up because their mothers, their fathers are so far away. And when you ask them, oh yeah, of course they are trying to make ends meet that would favor the children, which is very good. But as much as the end is important, the means is also very important. So in a nutshell, child abuse is happening. If you don't hear it, if you don't see it, doesn't mean it's not happening. It is, and it is a very bad thing. And so please, let's create awareness for child abuse so that we can stop the chain of child abuse. The child that has been abused has a voice, and the voice must be heard. And it starts from us. It starts from you listening. Report that abuse. Report that person. No matter who, no matter where, no matter how. Just raise a voice. So it's a wrap on the talk show Table with Christiana D on the Apostolos Radio. Till we meet again next week, Friday, same time, same station. Stay blessed and have a lovely weekend. Bye.
Sorry.
Wow.
It went off. Just connecting. I've been trying to reach out to another line.
Since when?
Almost like 4 minutes, 3 minutes ago. Is your new hotspot?
No,
Okay.
I just use my phone.
So
Well, how do I know?
you need data?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,